Hey, Wes. This is Christy and Wes with 180 Digital. Just wanted to kind of talk about a recent post that we made that we kind of talk through to help churches, help people who follow us, help our clients kind of think through some ways they can promote their summer vacation Bible schools that'll be coming up soon. Um, yeah, I actually wrote the post, but we talked about both of us talked about it a little bit on some ideas and what kind of challenges some churches go through with promoting their vacation Bible school programs.
Yeah, I mean, what a great topic. I mean, really, VBS, Vacation Bible School, is a staple of most churches and kind of one of the main figures of their summer program, if they have a summer program, and one of the primary outreach opportunities that they have to reach their community. So, I mean, it's only fitting, I think, that we talk about VBS and some ways that churches can utilize maybe some ways of marketing that or promoting that they haven't thought about before. So I thought this is a really great article to hit on some of those. So yeah, I'm excited to talk through them.
Yeah, so you actually co-pastor or have helped pastor a church, Redemption Church in
Mhm.
Jacksonville. And do you guys have any kind of program, summer program that you guys run?
We do. Our VBS is very unique in a way. We're in a very low income, high crime area of the city, and that's part of one thing that I love about our church is that we're where the need is. But what we actually do is we actually partner with another church. So we have another church that already has done their VBS, already come up with all of their decorations and things like that. They come in as a missions trip to help us run our VBS. And so it's great. The people in our neighborhood don't know any different. They just love having that opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us as a church to show our community that we care, we love them, that we're here for them. But so yes, we do a VBS. It's a little bit different than probably everyone else's, but it's a really great outreach event that we have every year.
Yeah, I love trying to think of VBS programs as something that's really there for the community. And so why would we not want to spend some time thinking about and talking about how to engage the community in
Mhm.
that? Not just I think we don't want to just focus on people within the church coming. We really the goal is to let people know in the community that the church is there for them and we want to help them. We want to help guide the kids in the neighborhood too. And yeah, so I think it's a great program. I would love to see churches do as much as they can to get the word out. And I think sometimes maybe churches don't know where to start, right, with how to promote themselves.
Yeah, they put a lot of work and time and effort into creating the VBS experience, whether that's people learning the songs, whether that's all the decorations that go into there, learning the lessons, being able to teach that. All that stuff is the core of what VBS is, but it's definitely worthwhile to think about how are we going to get people to come to this event. And maybe
Mhm.
there's some different opportunities there that exist that we kind of talk about in this article, that are some ways, some unconventional ways, but really makes sense when you think about it. So it's worth
Mhm.
taking time to really think through how we're going to market this event and try to get the most impact for the time and effort that we're putting into it.
Yeah. I really like what you said about how your church will, kind of partner with other churches. I think that's a great idea for small churches and large churches, really to think of Vacation Bible School and really any event or program that they're putting on. Like it doesn't not need to be just relevant to VBS, but thinking about the message that we're sending to the community and how we do that holistically with other churches and with um, other businesses in the community who can help. And that's one point that I actually made in the post that community connection is something that is used, but maybe could even be used more. I think, and maybe not being utilized by some churches that could really benefit them. And I think I use the example of even going to the local library or coffee shops and Chick-fil-A's and just if you haven't already as a pastor or as somebody in the leadership team, like making those connections just to make connections, but also to we can our church can share information about events that you've got going on, and you can share information about things that the church has got going on. And so I think that there's a lot of room for community connections across businesses that maybe we don't think about sometimes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, really, you're right. And but as a church, if you're not already have those connections, you're not going to really have a good attendance at your VBS. I think that that's a relationship that goes on. If you're a church that is already making those connections with those community partners, utilize those. That's a
Mhm.
two-way street. I know a lot of times churches, hey, we're working with schools and we're giving them things and we're volunteering there and things like that. But oftentimes those can be a two-way street here, so that if you have an event coming up that's for the community, let them know. They'd be happy to let their parents know of their school. So yeah, I mean, that whether it's a school or whether it's a daycare down the street, who are always looking for events and activities for the kids that they have. A coffee shop, or like you said, even Chick-fil-A. We usually have a pretty good partnership. The church I was actually before this had a really close relationship with the Chick-fil-A in our community, who love to let people know about the Vacation Bible School we were having. Gave us giveaway, free stuff to give away. Of course, it was free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches or things like that. But those community connections can really help make or break your VBS as far as marketing it. And so utilize those. Don't be afraid to do that. And if you're a church that hasn't done that, let me encourage you, you need to be making those connections. So the pastor or someone on the maybe VBS team needs to be out active in creating those relationships. One thing I did think about with this kind of community connections that churches often don't do is maintaining a community email list. So having all those connections in one place, in one spreadsheet, so that when you have an email or you have an event coming up, that you can blast out an email to all of those community partners that you have, just letting them know. And kind of in that way, what you're doing is you're just really putting a hook in the water and seeing who's going to bite. So obviously you can contact them directly, just call them on the phone or whatever, stop by. But even just shooting out an email saying, hey, we're having this event. We would love to know, how we could help get the word out and see what happens there.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mhm.
One thing that I started to think through a little bit that I haven't seen many churches do, but that I think could be utilized is even doing like Facebook Lives to kind of let your community know that you're going to have this, and often, especially video on social media platforms can get more views, just the way the algorithms work. So I think that, that's something that maybe churches could do that's a little bit different than they may have done in the past, which is to go live either on YouTube, go live on Facebook, go live on Instagram, whatever platform that you have found that your audience is most on, having that kind of like live video, and that gets saved, and then that can be shared and it can be added to a Facebook event. It can be added to your Facebook page or your social media page so that you can keep sharing it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, the key with social media is go ahead and getting it out there ahead of time. Don't wait to just post. I see a lot of churches who post things the day of the VBS, and that's good. You
mhm.
should do that, because sometimes there were people who will come later on in the event. But beforehand, like you said, posting something ahead of time. So whether you did like a quick little time lapse, just walkthrough of all the events and rooms and setup and all the stuff that's happened there, do that several weeks ahead of time as the church is preparing for that, and post that on social media. And again, you can do a Facebook Live, like you said, with maybe someone who's leading the worship, and have them do just a little bit of a song, just so you can kind of create that engagement and kind of pique their curiosity about what's going to happen there. So yeah, going live, utilizing Facebook in that way, or even Instagram, creating, you said in the article, creating a Facebook event. I think this is important too, because what it does, it's not so much about having people come to the event, but what it is about, what I love is that Facebook recommends, like, hey, your friend over here is going to this event, or has showed interest in that event. Is this something that sounds interesting to you? So it's a way of kind of boosting your event without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I like to think about it. And it's okay to boost posts as well. And really, that audience is friends of friends, is how that kind of works with Facebook boosting posts. But having an event is a way to do that in a similar way for free. And even when you're thinking about, how much should you spend on marketing for this event? Because I think a lot of churches might wonder that, how much should we spend? Should we spend money at all? And the answer to that question is yes, you should. Okay, you should think about how, because you're going to spend money, whether it's on flyers or or the signs, yard signs or banners, things like that. Think about spending just a little bit of money on Facebook ads or boosting posts. And I think really in a traditional marketing sense, they usually say that kind of 7 to 8%. I might even recommend up to 10% of a budget for an event be spent on marketing. That would include banners and signs and things like that. But think about utilizing some of that money towards running an ad, because you can, if you're not familiar with Facebook ads, it is a way that you can, beyond boosting, you can target specific people within a certain radius. So you could do, moms who have kids in certain ages within a certain distance of the church. So you can get hyper focused on
Yep.
on exactly who that ad is delivered to. So that gives you a pretty good benefit for the money that you're going to spend on there. So it's worth investing in, on top of the traditional ways like mailers and things like that. So.
Yeah, I'd add too that the Facebook especially has gotten a little easier over time to use, so it may
Yeah.
not be as confusing as it used to have been. And I think that boosting is, you can also see it as a branding opportunity for the church, because that's a great way. Even if somebody can't come to the VBS, then they'll know that your church exists. So you may not see immediately, hundreds of new people coming to your church, but you do need to holistically think of sometimes branding as a long game, right? So like
Yeah.
getting your page, getting your church's name out in front of their eyes, and that can have long-term positives for you that you may not be able to see right away.
Yeah, and the reality is maybe your church is in a location that a lot of people don't drive by, so people just don't know that you exist.
Hmm.
And it is a branding play for the church as a whole. So anytime anyone can come to an event, or they just learn the name of the church or where you are and what you're about, that's good for the church overall. So definitely an
Yeah.
opportunity there. So.
Well, I think we covered a lot of what's in the post, but there are still a couple other things. If somebody wants to check out more about some of our ideas on promoting their VBS program, you can go to the 180 site and go to our blog, and you'll see that there. We also have some other blogs that kind of touch on search engine optimization and events, and just other church related marketing efforts or website design efforts. So we're really hoping to, with these videos and with our blog posts, to let churches know how we can help them be seen online. I think that's our big goal, right, Wes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this, my favorite tip on the list was actually
Oh,
number 5. Uh, and that was the open house idea. That was a great idea that you had. And I haven't really ever thought about that, but having an open house is one way that definitely churches can use that to have something a little bit beforehand to get parents and kids excited about an event, let them know about what's happening. I thought that was a great tip. But we're always putting lots of different ideas and tips on our blog. So be sure to check that out. If you are not subscribed to our mailing list so that you get these in your email every month, make sure that you're added to that. Make sure you go on there, subscribe to that, because we definitely want to keep sending these things out and get this information to you. Hopefully it's helpful.
yep. And it's actually really easy to subscribe. You can do it at the very bottom of the homepage, or you can, there's a link in the header as well that you can get to the subscribe for the newsletter, but it doesn't take long. It's just an email address. We don't ask for a whole bunch of information. But it was great talking to you, Wes, and we'll chat again another time about another piece that we talk about.
Sounds
So.
good. Thanks.